Rules and procedures, one of the most important things that they do is they create similarities between students. Students will all be similar in the sense that they all have to follow the same rules and the same procedures because they are all in the same class learning the same material. These procedures are essential because if you treat every single student differently, which understandably you will in some aspects, but in regards of managing a classroom, if you treat every student differently, it will be impossible to keep track and to manage your classroom. This is why rules and procedures are necessary because they make, in a sense, they make all students the same, and it makes it easier to manage a classroom behavioral wise. Some students, as mentioned a little bit briefly in the previous slide, some students will have learning differences. These may include or learning differences, or they may be an English language learner. Because of this, you may need to adapt procedures and rules to fit that specific student. You may need to work with the student so that they have technically the same rules in place and the same expectations of behavior, but that the implementation of the rules and procedures will work for that specific student. So, for instance, if a child is in a wheelchair and you have a procedure of jumping 3 times to get students to quiet down, you may need to rethink that procedure entirely because you do not want that one student to feel left out. Make sure that all procedures and rules work for all students. And if there are special exceptions, such as you may have an autistic kid in your class, if they have a paraprofessional with them, then that student will be with you and the paraprofessional, and the student's parents will work to develop specific rules and procedures for that student. Students will also have different levels of prior learning. Because of this, you should incorporate a procedure for catching up on work or for a procedure for yourself as a teacher to help students who do not understand the basics of the concepts you are building on. Students are all in the same class learning the same material, as mentioned in the previous slide, so incorporate the material you are learning into the procedures and the rules themselves. Consequences also should be related to the material being learned. Once again, the most important part of procedures and rules is that they create similarities in the classroom. Procedures and rules are the same for every student, and this in itself is a similarity.